bunch of videos for this entire electrical tool trailer into this video. That way you guys get the gist of it. It's not a play-by-play or a how-to and everything, but I kind of cover the wiring, the basics, shore power, inverter. I'm not covering anything with the wiring the inverter because most are not going to have that in this kind of setup. And solar, most aren't going to have solar on their trailers anyway. So if you want that, let me know in the comment section below. I can post a video about my MPPT charge controller, my solar panel, or my inverter. It's a 3,000 watt pure sine, but like I'll say that in this video. Just keep this is the main stuff, just wiring, super simple. But if you have any problems, consult an electrician. 12 volts not that bad, but you can mess some stuff up for sure. Let's get into it. What's going on YouTube? All right, let's go over the trailer electrical from start to finish. Everything I used, it's in the description below. So if you want to check out all the parts I used. But we got 12 volt lighting, we've got 110 volt electrical power, 15 amp service to power everything you need, all off battery. I got solar panel up there as well. It's been working out great. I've had it there for 2-3 weeks now, and it's been charging everything. Now I don't use too much service, so I don't need to. I did shore power once to top the batteries off for the week. But otherwise, we are underway with solar power basically. So not necessary for a tool trailer, but at the same time, kind of cool. Let's get into it.
All right, so the parts list is going to be pretty much everything you see here, minus the actual solar panel and a couple things I'm going to show you here in a second. Got a 2 breaker box. I think this is a 30 amp, but we're going to convert it over to 15 amp. We'll show you how to do that. It's not that hard, but there's a reason for this. I'll get to it here when I show you the inverter while we're doing this for shore power. We've got our rocker switch panel. This is for all my lights, which is going to be, we've got 6 of them here. We've got a 12 volt cigarette lighter and voltage, which we're not going to use, and we also have USBs here too. But this will show you each one of these is actually, they're all wired in, I want to say they're daisy chained together. So we're going to, each of these actual switches are going to have its own fuse. We're gonna wire those separately, and I just kind of cut and I built a little wire loom just for it, so we can actually have each one of these on its own fuse. That's pretty much what we're doing here. So, because I don't want just one hot going to it just to feed it, because I don't. That's not the way I want to do it. But you can wire it that way. Absolutely. I'm just saying that's not how I want to do it, and that's not how we're going to do on this one. We have a shore power male connector. Let me see if I can get this with one hand here. Right here. So we're going to put this on the outside of the trailer, and we're actually going to have to cut that open and get it for the MC. But that goes on the outside for shore power, which is going to connect to the inverter, which connects to this. And we can power everything up and charge our batteries at the same time. Got ourselves a nice little shunt and battery monitor. So it's going to tell us voltage, voltage used, amps, how much battery power we got left, all that good stuff. We've got 6 gauge kit there that's going to be used for our MPPT charge controller and anything else we're going to need. We're going to have a few bus bars here for all of our hot and neutral, or grounds and hots. Battery shutoffs, solar shutoffs right here, just quick. So you can just disconnect the power from it. So if you need to work on anything, we've got the Ames power inverter remote switch. So this is gonna be mounted next to this. I'll show you where that's gonna be mounted, but we're gonna be mounting it next to it so I can turn on inverter when I need to, and I can turn on all the battery power and all that good stuff when I need to. We've got obviously a bunch of fuses, 150 amps, 300 amps, and an 80 amp. That's your lines for your solar panel. So I'm only using one 330 watt solar panel, but you can obviously you can wire them in series or parallel depending on how you want to do it. We've got 2-aught cables. This is for my batteries. I had these pre-cut and crimped and what do you call them? Put the shoot. It's late, but yeah, the heat shrink on it. That way I didn't have to do it, because I am not buying a huge hydraulic crimper, but you can too. I'll put a link in the description for all this stuff here coming up shortly. It won't be right when this video posts up, because I still have to get a bunch of stuff in order, but it will be there so you guys can see everything that I'm using. And then we got extra here for the actual positive and negative feeds going into the bus bars. So that's all we have here, and then let's go up to the front. Oh, we got the 12 port, 12 volt fuse panel. That's what this is. Basically, this is all your fuses right here. This is what everything's going to be ran through as far as 12 volts going to be concerned. 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and we've got a MPP charge controller right there. That is a Bluetooth also, so we're going to be able to take care of monitor stuff via Bluetooth when we're in here as well, which is nice. So, and then also the reason why we're doing the 15 amp breaker box is because you can see back here we had an issue. Now the system still worked, but you can see right there that it arced out and we had an issue. So we're gonna replace that, and we'll protect everything with fuses and breakers. So that's what we have in here. This is gonna be the main area. We're gonna put lights up in here as well, with its own little rocker switch that's on the switch panel itself. That way I don't need to light this all the time, but when I want to look in here or when I want to work in here, I'll have light. And then down here is just gonna be basically, you can see where we have everything ran to. We've got the MC lines. These are going to be going straight into the inverter. It's going to be on this side actually, and then once actually it has an automatic transfer switch, so if it senses short power, it'll switch over, start charging the batteries, and then the MPP charge controller will stop inputting whatever voltage it has from the solar panels. So, and then we have our 6 deep cycle exceed batteries right here at 115 amp hours each, and there's 6 of them. I have them on this side. They are heavy. I will say down the road we are going to upgrade to lithium ion for multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is weight. I think you could probably have, I don't know, probably 18 lithium ion batteries is the same weight as here. So, and these are all 12 volt. They're wired in parallel, so basically we have one big 12 volt battery. That's what we have, because this is a 12 volt inverter, so we're going to keep it on 12 volts. But we're upgrading all of these right here to the 2-watt wire, and then everything's going to be random to here for the power source. And then up in here we're going to basically, it's all going to be big tool storage. Right now, like it is right now, we get the bandsaw and a big other stuff. This is all going to be big tool storage. We'll have more light in here as well. That's what we're using this space up here for now, because that's where the inverter used to be. A couple other things about lithium ion batteries is one, they're expensive, but they do have also, you can't charge them when it's really cold out, so they have to have a kind of a blanket heat source to keep them up to temperature, so you can charge them as well. These ones you do not. Lead acid batteries, I mean, this tech has been around for over 100 years. These are old school batteries, but they are obviously work, and you can only use 50% depth of discharge for lead acid. Otherwise you run the risk of permanently damaging the battery bank. So even though I have 6 batteries, I can only use 3 batteries of actual amp hours, because I don't want to bring them down below 12 volts. So it basically, if you're buying 2 batteries, you can only use 1 with lead acid. Now with lithium ion, you can bring depth of discharge probably all the way down to 20% or so, maybe even less, but you have that whole 80%, 85% depth of discharge available to you, which is also nice, and then you have a lot more cycles. That's another reason why you should go lithium ion, but they are expensive. I think with all 6 of these batteries, you can buy 1 lithium ion battery, so at 12 volts. That's now you can build them for a lot cheaper than that, but if you want to just buy them right off the shelf, plug and play, you're paying a little pretty penny. So enough of that. That's my battery bank, and then we're gonna go with the wiring here. For the lighting, we're running 14 gauge wires. You can see them down here, having little spools down there, but those are basically, we are daisy chaining all the wiring here. These are all, see if I can keep the light out of it here, but that's all LED lighting. Now the gauge of wire depends on your amps you're trying to push through it, so LEDs don't have very many amps, so we can get away with daisy chaining everything off 14 gauge. No, that's just for those lights as well. And you can see, I think this is like probably 23 or 23 gauge or so, whatever it is they come with stock. But yeah, 14 gauge it is. These are Dorman wires, so we're basically just going through it. So one little switch for the rocker panel will turn on all the lights. All right, wiring, 12 volt, pretty simple. You got your main 14 gauge here, and then you got your probably 22, 23 gauge wire coming off the LED lights. So you just cut the line that you're running daisy chain. So this was one line, I just cut it.
and I basically twist these together and I wrap it with tape. Now there's also a better way of doing this. If you want to, you can solder them together. You can use little butt splicers kind of like this, that can work for you. Those are a little better for you. This is what I'm going to do for right now. It's kind of cold out, so that's how I'm wiring this. And if I need to, I can come down later down the road and take that tape off, and then I can actually do some sort of other connection or solder it if I need to. So just so you guys can see, sorry about the light. Same thing, daisy chain, no light there. Here, same thing right there. And we're gonna keep going all the way down, so let's get to work. All right, so we're gonna do this, show you guys, color coded. This is just one line. I just cut them, I bring it to length, I cut it, and then I attach, obviously, red to red, black to black. So let's do all this real quick. Twist them up. Again, I don't recommend this for anything other than 12 volt. So this is, we're not dealing with anything crazy here. If it shorts out, we got fuses to protect us. Just like that, you guys can see. Right there. Cut it. And then take our tape. And this is just electrical tape, just in the white color. Just like that. So we do that all the way down. All right, quick, take this off real quick. That means our light's going away. Let's get a little better light up here. Oh, come on now. All right, there we go. So, take this off. Out with the old. Let's see if I can get a little better light there. We'll take one of our 2-aughts. We can do both of these here that way. Oh, looks like that one needs to be hollow. All right, that one needs to be drilled out a little bit. Good to know. There we go. And then so basically we're just going to connect these all in parallel and then put the bolts back down. They're all back together. That's basically it. Here is your basic Amazon 6 rocker panel switch, 12 volt. These are all rockers, and then you also have your USB. So you can see USB 2.1 amps and then 1 amp. Both of them are not really, they're not fast charging, but they're there for you. Voltage for your batteries, and then a cigarette lighter right here, 12 volt cigarette lighter, which we won't even use. So this is your basic. This is what we're going to be using to control our lights and control all of our 12 volt, you know, not appliances, but anything we need for 12 volts. So now we need to modify this for my particular use, and this is how we're going to do it. On the back, there's a couple of different ones with this, but you can see obviously red is for you know, hot or the actual power. So these ones are actually daisy chained from, you can see you got one right here, and then you got 2 coming back over to 2 of the rockers, and then the other 2 same thing. So you got power coming to here, and then you know, comes right back out for another 2 and another 2. So that's not good for what we're going to use it, because I don't want, you're limited with your amps depending on what you're using it for. So I want to basically have 1 fuse per, and 1 home run at 14 gauge per rocker. That gives me, you know, all the amps I'm going to need. I can dictate if it's going to be 10, 15, 20 amps, whatever I need to at 12 volts. But in this way, you're limited pretty much for each rocker. Is going to have to split the amperage from whatever's in here. So we don't want that. This will work for obviously probably a lot of you that want just to slap something in your boat or your car. You probably won't need all these, but at the same time, it's nice to have it. I'm gonna not try to build this twice, so we're gonna wire these separately. These rocker switches, each one is gonna have their separate. Each one's gonna have their separate dedicated line, fused 14 gauge wire to the actual main fuse, 12-volt fuse panel, which is gonna be down here. You can see I haven't wired it up yet, but this is gonna be the exact main one. So you have, I think these are 12, so we have 6 or actually 7 gonna be used for this, but we're gonna have an additional 5 more with that. So basically all we're gonna do is basically snip off these and snip off this one right here. Take these out. Everything that's red we're going to take out, and then we're just basically going to splice. You can either solder them together, splice them, wire butts, however you want to. I'm going to basically cut them, splice them, and then heat shrink them together, each one of them. And for this, I also I've already made, where is my wire? So we have this. This is 7 14 gauge wires, kind of my own little wire loom. Sorry for the shaky cam. So we got 7 of them here. Obviously 1 per rocker, and then 1 actual for the going, for the power for the actual voltage, and then going to the shunt for the so I can see the voltage. Now this is my backup. I'm not exactly sure how accurate it's going to be, but it's there. I might as well use it. No big deal. And so it'll be there for me, but I'm actually not even going to wire the USBs or the actual circuit ladder, because 2.1 amps, I mean, it's not worth it. I have plenty of power in my tool trailer here. So, but I do want to control all my lights and for any additional lighting I may need. Now, that being said, these are not all going to be used. These are all power straight to the switch here from my fuse block, 12 volt fuse block. So I don't need to run all, if I don't have all switches here. So if I don't have enough, like say I only need to, my main lights are going to be on one, secondary lights are going to be on the second. I might have 1 or 2 exterior lights, and then I have 2 rockers that are just there if I need them for future use. So keep that in mind. And also, these also have always on lighting on the bottom. So right there, you can see if it'll focus. Those are usually always on. So I'll decide, depending on the amp draw, I might have a switch that actually controls the actual power to the to this actual entire rocker panel, if you want to say, just because I don't want the excess draw on my batteries. Even though I have 6 deep cycle batteries, it's a lot. It really is. So all we're gonna do is I'm basically cutting out these fuses because I don't need them. We have the fuse plant, so I'm cutting those out, and then I'm basically making 1 line going to each rocker panel, and then 1 line going to the voltage right there. That's basically all we're doing. So I'll get snipping, and then I'll let you see what we have from there. All right, so we got all 6 hots separated, and the 7th one right here. You guys can see all red wires. And then this is my first one of my wire loom. These are Klein little up to 12 gauge stranded wire strippers. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Link in the description for all this, of course. So now this is the first one. All we got is we've got a little bit of shrink wrap right here. Now there's a couple link in the description. There's actual better ways of doing this. They have little shrink wrap with actual solder inside it, so that's actually probably the best way, ideal way to do it. I'm just going to twist these together and shrink wrap it, and basically, we're going to be just fine with that. So you twist them together. This is not for a boat. This is not waterproof by any means, but for a tool trailer, it's just fine, but will still work here. So that's basically all you have right there. You see it? We ring on the wire, the shrink wrap. Got my little butane off camera. And you don't want to get the flame right on it, but you just want to heat it up. There we go. You guys can see it if it focuses. There's one right there. So we're going to do all 7. That's basically how we do it. We'll wire them together. Alright, so here we go. It's wired. You can see they're all actually switched on, so you can see how these ones down here stay on, and then the top ones obviously illuminate once it's actually on, the circuit's connected and completed. So that's your basic right there. Right now our battery bank's at 12.9 volts. It seems to be about accurate. I'll take my voltage just to see exactly, but I mean, I'll be running this off the shunt anyway, so this is nothing. It's just a quick glance just to see, to make sure it doesn't drop below 12. So, but that's basically the wiring. So let's take a look on the back here. Now, this is a quick one. I just ran out of black line. I just want to get this working for you guys. So this one is connected to the yellow is actually a negative. So I have it on red. It's still connected to the negative down here just to get this to work to show you guys. So I will replace that with the black line, 14 gauge. Just keep that in mind. So just like you guys can see, we have everything shrink wrapped, spliced together. All of them. You have 7 total. So you have 1 for the top, which is the battery monitor, power, and then 6 for the switches. All these right here. So that's basically it. So each one's going to have their own fuse, and I could put 5, 10, 15, 20 amps on each one of them, and we're good to go for whatever kind of draw we need for light bars, lighting inside. Anything you want to power with 12 volts. So I mean, I think they make 12 volt refrigerators too. So that's basically the gist of it. We are mounting it over here, which I see if I can't get this out as far as going backwards here. There we go. So it's going to be here, right there, and then everything's going to be ran underneath, obviously, but just for instances, that's why that hole's there. I had to bring it out because of the thickness. You can see how much width we're going to need here, at least probably 4 inches, maybe even more, before it actually hits the outside of the wall for the trailer. So, but that's basically the gist of it. Wiring it up, you guys can see we're good to go now. Always, the only thing you're going to need to do when you connect your lighting circuit, the actual wiring that goes to the lights or whatever you want it to, you're going to put a 1/4 inch connector on the back of it, just like these. See, we can't, just like the one I cut off right there, and it slips right into there, and then that's what's going to complete the circuit for you for whatever lighting you need. So you can see there's 6 of them there, and there you go. And I took these ones off, so you can see one right there. Connection. I just took that one off because I'm not using the USB or the cigarette lighter. I don't have a use for those. That's all for this video, guys. Like and subscribe. Hopefully you guys helps you out wiring your system. This is completely overkill if you don't need many amps, if you're not drawing too many amps, because I'm doing dedicated 14 gauge for each switch, and then I can fuse them individually. So, but that's it. Got it wired up. Oops, let's get out of here. So the 6 gauge is negative, goes down and up to the negative bus bar. Positive goes up and around to the positive bus bar, and obviously we have all the fuses installed for these, and the negatives get installed where the negatives go, positives get installed where the fuses go. That's pretty much the gist of it. And we've got the battery disconnect right here, so if we put it on, there we go. So you can see battery bank's at 12.6 volts, and I have that upside down. So that's to be expected because this is the first time I'm turning it on. So there we go. But that's basically the gist of it. The cap goes back on, just like so, just like that. I'm gonna do some wire management, of course, but that's basically it. So all your negative go down the bottom, and then you got your 12 positives. That's the gist of it for this, you guys. A male plug here, little weather cap, and then this piece comes straight off. You can see color-coded, ground, hot, neutral. You got your screws right there. So that's basically, you're going to plug in, obviously you're going to strip the Romex or your MC cable off and directly go into there, and then tighten them down with the screws. That's pretty much how you mount this up. I mean, you could also, go straight from you could cut off one end from an extension cord, and you know, feed it through there. It's going to be stranded cable with an extension cord. This is a 15 amp outlet, so that's all we're going to need for this, but that's basically the look at it. And you have a 2-inch hole hog. You're going to need this. It actually goes right over it. That's what we're going to use to drill out the hole in our trailer. Let's see if we can get to focus. But that's basically, I mean, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Wiring, you can't really mess this part up. And you can just auger this out as however much you need to get your Romex or your MC cable in there. And you can use a clamp to clamp it down.
There we go.
Alright, so we got the roll. I'm using Romex, solid copper Romex. If you're doing anything mobile, you should be using stranded, but I'm using solid copper. You guys can see how I have it here. I'll tape this up in the back end, but I'll pull this back a little bit so you guys can see. So do all three at one time. You know, insert all, loosen the screw, loosen all the screws up, push all three of them in the same time, and then tighten them up because it's going to be a lot easier for you. But you got your ground, neutral, and your hot on that side over there, all tightened up so we can basically push this forward. So it protects everything. So, and then I'll wrap that in tape just to keep. Now I'm not using MC cable because I just the ends with the burrs with the, you know, the little burrs with the MC cable. Here, I'll get a piece real quick for you. So these right here, I don't want, if you focus, there we go. I don't want those, you know, bouncing down the road. There's not a good way to actually secure them, so we're just going to use Romex for this. No big deal, but just letting you know that's what I'm doing. And you just do what you need to do to be safe when you're working with electrical, for sure. So that's how I have it. All right, so we got the outside here taken care of. Now if we go on the inside, it's coming out through here, and I use Romex. This is going to basically be your supply. So you can do this a couple ways. This can be an extension cord. This can go into a breaker box, like I'll show you. This can go directly into another box, like say something like this. You wire it straight into that, and then you have your inside power. And then obviously I have most of them daisy chained, but you can wire it directly into that, just hot, neutral, and ground. But this is the supply. I'm going to show you because my inverter will be charging my battery bank right there. This is my supply. So, quick teaser, I will put a link in the description with all the materials and also how to wire this for basic shore 15 amp shore power. This is basically, so any loads I have in my trailer will trip these breakers before they trip, say, customer's breaker or something like that. Just an extra source of protection. I always label them. This is just as an example. Supply, you got your load 1 and load 2, basically, you know, 1, 2 breakers. So that's basically it. I'll break this down in another video. Look in the description. I'll see you guys later. All right, so 7x16, we're gonna go over the specs real quick. 7x16, 6'8" interior height. We got LED lights through and top. Actually, everything's LED. There's no, I don't think there's any incandescent bulbs at all here. All the lighting is 12 volt, so we'll go over that here in a little bit. 7x16, 6'8" interior height. The Vino's all aluminum. I get those questions all the time. The trailer weighs about 6,200 pounds with everything in here. So let's get past that, right? So electrical wise, we got the, let's just turn it real quick. I'll give you guys a close up here, but we got the charging station right here. Obviously this is 110, and so we're gonna go over that. Got the inverter, 6 deep cycle batteries, 115 amp hours each. And those are 12 volts wired in parallel. That way we get a big 12 volt battery, and we don't have to get, you know, 24 volts, 48 volts, nothing like that. So keep that in mind. We have outlets. I believe we got 1, 2, 3. I think we have 8 outlets total, including some 2.1 volt USB charging, and then we got some fast charging as well. And then we've got rocker switches for the 12 volt system, and we're going to go through everything as well. Keep in mind, I do have a 15 amp service in the trailer too for shore charging, and that's going through the inverter, but you don't need, if you want to just do 15 amp service for your trailer, you just bypass the inverter and you can just plug in an extension cord to your customers or to your own house, and boom, you got basically an extension of your garage in your trailer. So that's how that goes. But the charging station, we've got we got fast chargers, rapid chargers here. This is, if everything's going at one time, you're looking at about 600 watts of power, 6-8, depending on what's getting charged. And again, the supercharger and the Makita up here as well. But at the same time, that's what you're looking at as far as this entire charging station, because I know I get a lot of questions about that. But I honestly never charge everything at one time, just because I don't use the Festool very much. The Metabo, if I do put it, I did it all once. You know, I charged it just to see what it was, and my inverter easily handles it. It's a 3,000 watt pure Ames pure sine wave inverter. But at the same time, this is my charging station. So as far as the rest of it's concerned, like I'll go over it again, all lighting is 12 volt, and there's nothing trickle charge from the truck. So everything, there's no charging from my truck, the tow vehicle. It's all solar panel. I got an MPP charge controller, 330 watt solar panel up top. If you know anything about solar, you'll know that you're never going to get the advertised wattage, because clouds, I mean, I live in Michigan, so clouds, I think I get maybe 250, 260 out of it max, like bright sunny day, and plus it lays flat, so it's never actually pointing directly at the sun. So yeah, so let's go into it. I'm going to give you guys a little deep dive, some more numbers on this trailer, and you guys can set up your little van, RV, or enclosed trailer or tool trailer the same. Solar panel right up top. Eventually it's going to be risen to above, so I can actually fit ladders underneath it. But you got your solar panel, and you got your hot and your sources down there going underneath. We've got our 15 amp service. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So I can use short power to charge. And then we're going to go back into the back of the trailer, and I can show you all of the lighting. This is all stock. You can obviously see it's old, it's crap, and probably a little rusty. Those are all stock LED lights. Those run after the truck. That's not run after the battery bank. That's the old shore power connection, no longer in use. LED lighting, 14 gauge wire. Again, all this is going to be linked in the description below as far as what I used. We've got 14 gauge wire throughout. That's for your 12 volt, and then we've got 12 gauge MC and Romex. So we've got this is what's powering the power bank with the power strip right underneath there, and then everything's running into here, so I don't have to see the wires. And then again, a back little shot. And then we've got fast charging, and then we've got USB charging as well. And this is what I use if I need to charge anything out of the back of the or power anything out of the back of the trailer. So this basically is, I run pretty much all cordless tools. You get your Milwaukee, Makita DeWalt, Festool, and then 12 volt Makita and the Hitachi Metabo, and then any dead batteries go up there for us to get to charge. So that's basically, you can see no extension cords because I use everything. I do have I have a few extension cords because I have tile saw and a paint sprayer that is not cordless, obviously. So again, all lighting is LED, ran up top, and then we have a couple puck lights too if I need additional lighting here for work spacing, so you can see right here as well. All right, so we have monitor right there. You can see I'm using 15 watts right now. I know the solar panel is pumping out probably another 50 watts or so. So that's actually what I'm using from the battery bank. You can see the battery. We're at about 12.8, so we're 85% or so, give or take. Battery bank is, we're only about 15% down. So anyways, this has gone through a couple renditions. This is my power station, or my control panel. We got more space for additional goodies over here somewhere, but your typical rocker switch. These are all wired, hot, fused down below it, so I'll show you in a second. And then you can see I've got additional lighting, and then the main lighting switch is right here. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And then I relocated my Ames power inverter controller. So here's where all the business end is. We got your we get to the battery bank, but you got your 2-aught wire coming in, feeding the bus bars, And obviously you got your battery disconnect right here, and then going to the inverter itself, 3000 watt AIMS pure sine inverter. And then we've got our fused 12 volts for everything in the trailer. Everything is fused, so this entire thing has separate fuses for each one of these, wired. And then the AIMS inverter, so if you want to, you can just do that. Give it a few seconds. Yeah, you can see the light. Let me turn the light off so you can see. Boom, there you go. It is on. So all my 110 in the trailer is powered. On this side over here, we've got 15 amp service. 2 breakers, one for the microwave, one for the rest of the trailer, and we got an MPPT charge controller. You can see, again, all this information right here is up at the top as well, so I don't have to bend down every time I want to see information. But the 2 lights up top, one, we got solar power, and it's actually charging the battery bank right now as we see it. So, shunt, so I can monitor everything. That's basically it, guys. That's all we've got really to talk about here. Battery bank. Oh, see, that's probably not great. We'll have to move that. Anyways, so we got 6 deep cycle batteries, 2 wire, positive and negatives. This is a little overkill, but just in case. But we've got everything we need here. And this goes all the way. You got 6 of them. So that's what's powering this entire system. Again, upgraded to lithium eventually, but that's a big upgrade and it would save a shoot load of weight for sure. But we're not there yet. This is working just fine for me right now. I will say we've got the 300 amp fuse to protect it. That fuses protect wire. And that's all I've got down here, guys. So we're going to go back up. No, we just got lighting, additional ambient lighting. I got to put some more tape up there, but just to help keep, this is just a cluster for bigger tools anyway in the front. Anyways, up here again, we do have additional USB and charging. And that's where the microwave goes right there. I just got to put the outlet back in. And we've got 12-2 MC cable. And recommend stranded for anything that's in motion. You can see there as well. This is where I used to have just a rat's nest of crap. Cut it all out. No more switches over here. So that's basically how we have it in a nutshell. And basically, the power comes from outside, comes up to here, and then it goes into my inverter. And I flip the switch over to where it charges, and then obviously it's an inverter charger, so it'll pump in amperage to the battery bank itself. And then I don't have to worry about, separate chargers or anything like that. And it also will still power the trailer too. So then it basically goes in, comes out, goes to the box, and your sub panel basically feeds the 2 circuits to the trailer. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But at the same time, I know sometimes people or myself can mess stuff up. So anyways, I think that is about all for the trailer electrical. 14 gauge wire, stranded, for all the 12 volt. And I'll say again, I get a lot of questions. No, my truck does not power this trailer. And again, I can be completely away from disconnected, in the battery bank itself will provide power for what I need. So 15 amp service, so whatever you want to put on 15 amps, it'll do it. So I'm in, again, solar power. I end up charging. You can see how the battery banks they're working. So you can see, again, I can monitor usage. So now we are using 247 watts, 20 amps. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Pulling pretty good, but it's charging up just fine. And we are, we're working. So this is how it works. I can plug in anything I want to. That's actually from that's my work phone. So if I need to, I can charge whatever I need to. That's it, guys. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.